here, we're still doing the power rule and the product rule, but we're basically going to have to do them together, okay? So we might have to do the power rule and then the product rule, or the product rule and then the power rule. These first three are just a refresher, okay? If I'm looking at number one, this is raised to a power, so this tells me that I need to do the power rule, okay? And again, that's like you're distributing your power. So that's going to be 7 to the third. G to the 3 times 6 is 18. And J to the 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, because remember, you multiply your exponents. The only thing you have to go back and do here is 7 to the third in your calculator, which is going to give you 343. G to the 18th, J to the 12th. All right, number 2, there's no powers on the outside, so this tells me that this is the product rule, which means I'm going to multiply my coefficients. So 6 times 2 is 12. And I'm going to add my exponents. So I'm going to have a to the 7th, 3 plus 4 is 7, and b to the 12th. 5 plus 7 is 12. All right, and then one little other refresher, number 3, there's no powers out here on the outside. So this tells me that this is going to be the product rule. Okay, I'm going to multiply my coefficients. So we have negative 6 times negative 3, which is a positive 18. I'm going to have x to the, add your exponents. There's a 4 here. There's nothing here. I'm going to make that a 1. So x to the 5th. And then y to the 10 plus 3 is 13. All right, on these next guys right here, we're going to have to do the power rule and the product rule. Okay? It's kind of like order of operations. You're always going to distribute before you add. Okay? So right here, I'm going to look at this, and I have to deal with this power of this 3 first. So I'm going to have to do this power rule first for that 3. And I'm going to distribute that power to everything inside these parentheses. So I'm going to have negative 2 to the third, b to the 18th, and y to the 21st. Okay? Because you multiply your exponents. Okay? And I do need to go back in here and do negative 2 to the third, which is going to give me a negative 8. So I've basically become negative 8, b to the 18th, y to the 21st. That's what this guy on the left simplifies to. I need to bring down this guy on the right, and now I'm going to be doing the product rule, which means I'm going to multiply my coefficients and add my exponents. So I'm going to do negative 8 times negative 3, which is going to give me a positive 24. Then I'm going to have b to the, add your exponents here, 18 plus 4, which is going to give me 22, and y to the, I got to do 21 plus 10, which is going to give me 31. All right, so we had to do the power rule. Most of the time, you're going to do power rule first, and then you can go do your product rule. All right, on number 5, I'm going to look to see if I need to do the power rule anywhere. Well, there's a 4 outside these parentheses, which means I need to do the power rule first, and I need to distribute that 4. This guy in the front's going to stay the same. And now when I do my power rule, I'm multiplying my exponents. So I'm going to have w to the 24th and x to the 8th, because I got to do 4 times 24 and 4 times 2. Now that I've done the power rule, I'm going to come do the product rule. I'm going to multiply my coefficients. Well, there's no coefficient here. Well, it's a 1. But negative 6 times 1 is still going to be a negative 6. Now I'm going to come in here and add my exponents. If you want, you can put a 1 in front of that w. 1 plus 24, that's going to give me 25. And then I'm going to have x to the 21st. 13 plus 8, 21. Yep. Okay. So there you go. All right. On number 6, I need to check, is there anywhere for me to do the power rule first? Well, this 5 is hanging out outside these parentheses. So that tells me I got a power rule. It's like I'm going to distribute my power. This term in the front's going to stay the same. Nothing's changing with him yet. And then I got to distribute this power of 5. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to have 3 to the 5th, r to the 5 times 7 is 35, and p to the 6 times 5 is 30. Okay? I'm going to keep on simplifying. My front term's going to stay the same. I'm going to put 3 to the 5th in my calculator, which gives me 243. Okay, r to the 35th, p to the 30th. I've done my power rule. Now I've got to come in and do my product rule, which means I'm going to multiply my coefficients. So negative 5 times 243 is going to give me a negative 1,215. R to the, add your exponents, 3 plus 35. So R to the 38. And then P to the 4 plus 30, which is going to be P to the 34th. All right. On number 7, you're going to go look, is there anywhere for you to do the power rule? Are there any powers hanging out outside of the parentheses? And there's no power rules hanging outside of the parentheses, so now I can just go straight to the product rule. So I'm going to do 2 times 5, which gives me 10. And then I'm going to come in here and add my exponents. So I'm going to have a to the 8th and b to the 10th. All right, number 8, I'm going to look to see if there's any powers hanging out outside of the parentheses. There's a 3 right there, so I've got to do that power rule of 3 first to everything in this second set of parentheses. Your first term's going to stay the same. I've got to distribute a 3 to the third, so I'm going to have 3 to the third. And then I'm going to have k to the 3 times 9 is 27, and m to the 3 times 5 is 15. Okay? We do need to come simplify 3 to the third. Our first term is going to stay the same. Nothing's changing. And 3 to the third is 27, so 27k to the 27th, m to the 15th. All right, I'm not done. Now that I've got 2 sets of parentheses, this tells me that I need to do the product rule, which means I need to come in here and multiply my coefficients. So I'm going to do 5 times 27, which is going to give me 135. Okay, k to the, add your exponent, 7 plus 27 is 34, m to the 18th. All right, number 9, you need to see if you have a power anywhere outside the parentheses. Well, right here I've got this 2, so I've got to do my power rule first, distribute your power. All right, so this is going to be parentheses negative 4 to the second, x to the, there's a 1 here, 1 times 2 is 2, and d to the 10th. Okay, nothing is happening to my second term, so I'm just going to bring him down. All right, and now the only thing I need to simplify over here is negative 4 to the second, which make sure you put that in parentheses, is going to be a 16x to the second, d to the 10th. That's your first term. Your second term, nothing happened to it. Now that I've done my power rule, I'm going to come back in and do my product rule, which means I've got to multiply these coefficients. So 16 times 3 gives me 48, I'm pretty sure. All right, so I've got 48. Now I got to come in here and add my exponents. All right, so this is kind of weird. There's no x's over here. So, y'all, this guy's just going to stay the same. Okay, I'm going to combine the d's. So that's going to be d to the 10th and d to the 2nd, which is going to give me d to the 12th. But I can't forget about this c to the 8th, which there's nothing to combine with it, so I'm just going to bring him down. Okay? All right, we're just going to do 2 more. Okay, what you need to notice about 10 is there's 2 power rules that have to be done because there's a 3 outside the parentheses here and a 3 outside the parentheses here. So I have to do the power rule to each of these terms. Okay, so we're going to start with doing the power rule to each of these. This guy's going to become 2 to the third. J to the 3 times 5 is 15. K to the 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this whole guy right here. Well, 2 to the third, that's going to become 8. And I'm going to bring down J to the 15th, K to the 9th. There's my first term. Okay, now I got to come do the power rule to this term right here. So I'm going to have 5 to the third. J to the 5 times 3 is 21. And 10 to the 3 times 10 is 30th. Okay, so 5 to the third, stick that on your calculator, you're going to get 125. J to the 21st, K to the 30th. Well, now that I've done the power rule, I have to come back in here and do the product rule. So I'm going to do 8 times 125, which is going to give me 1,000. j to the add your exponents, 15 plus 21 gives me 36. K to the 9 plus 39, or 9 plus 30 gives me 39. All right, we're going to do number 11. We're not going to do 12. You can cross them out, okay? On 11, you're going to come in here and we're going to look. Okay, ooh, there's 2 powers outside these parentheses, so I'm going to have to do the power rule twice. So I'm going to distribute my power. So this is going to be negative 3 to the second. P to the, there's a 1 here. 2 times 1 is 2. And then u to the 10th. And I'm going to go ahead and simplify negative 3 to the second, which is going to give me 9p to the second, u to the 10th. All right, there's my first term I've simplified. Now I got to come do the power rule to the second term. That 3's got to go to everything. So that's going to be 4 to the third, p to the 18th, 6 times 3 is 18, and u to the 36. Okay? 4 to the third, when you stick that in your calculator, you should get 64. These guys are going to stay the same. P to the 18th, U to the 36. All right, I've done both my power rules. Now I've got to deal with this and do the product rule. So I'm going to multiply my coefficients. So 9 times 64 gives me 576, and add my exponents. P to the 20th, U to the 46.